My name's Nick, and I'm a dad who just turned the big 40 and has just finished the Hero Tribe 12-week foundation program. Late 2020, my wife fell pregnant, and we are now expecting our second child mid 2021, which is awesome. And I guess exciting as this was, I instantly started to reflect on our firstborn child and what mistakes essentially I didn't want to repeat with baby number two. And I remember distinctly in the fourth trimester, that is the 3 months after my first daughter was born, I ate whatever food was in front of me, and usually my wife's leftover portion as well. I was constantly tired. As being a first parent, you have no idea on what is going on. You live day to day. And I think the byproduct of that is you immediately compromise good formed habits to meet the needs of your child, and in many cases your wife as well. And I knew as a dad there was also this social stigma and I guess a subjective view on what it is to be the best dad possible. And I guess all of that just saw me starting to forget about myself, not looking after myself. I was getting grumpier, and I started packing on the weight in conjunction with sleeping less. And all in all, I just felt like there was this big fog that had come out of nowhere and had just consumed me, and I didn't know how to get out of this fog. I saw the Hero Tribe advertising on social media quite a few times, and I kept thinking when these ads popped up, who are these two blokes in this ad, and what is Hero Tribe? So one day, not too long before we found out about our second child, I clicked on one of these ads thinking that I'd be directed to their site, and I just see this in 12 weeks you'll get this great physical program, you get rock hard abs, guns, and all of it. Anyway, I just signed up on a whim. And I have this motto where, it's always worth it if only to realize. So, I signed up, and I was still pretty pessimistic at this stage, but signed up to have an introductory chat with Paul and Dan. So two things happened after I actually spoke with Paul first. So I had this introductory call with Paul, and I quickly understood that this wasn't just going to be some physically based program. For some reason, I wasn't expecting that, and it actually was completely different. The word holistic comes up in my head a lot because that's how it was positioned, in the context that what the program's about is about your mental, nutritional, and physical states, supplemented by these daily check-ins and weekly reviews with Paul and Dan. So it's just one of them, it's both of them. And secondly, I knew that I needed some coaching, but didn't realize, I guess, how down in the dumps I was until I spoke with Paul and started, verbalizing what was in my head. And I guess I had massive imposter syndrome. I had this doubt on my well-being and how good of a dad I was and what I was becoming, and it was just becoming too much of a concern. So I love being a dad, but I wasn't looking after myself, and it was just starting to make such a big impact. And just saying it out loud on a call to a complete stranger, I guess, immediately changed my perspective, and I knew I had to do something about it. How did the Hero program support your goals? I didn't really have any formed goals, but what did happen is I became very accountable, and that was a massive learning. I didn't think I would be, but accountability. What is the biggest learning from the Hero program? So I think 2 points here. Best summarized. First is, I had the intent, just not the motion, right? So the program gave me a steady cadence of developing the motion. That is, exercising every day, which was a big change for me. Only 20, 30 minutes. Recording my food and being accountable for what went into my gut was a big factor. And the second point is accountability. So it makes a tremendous difference when you talk about what's going in your mind, what you're doing, and what you're eating, and taking photos and essentially expressing what you're trying to do to another person. And I think that was a really big aha moment for me. What would you say to other dads considering the program? If you have even the inkling of imposter syndrome, whether you're a new dad or an existing dad, I think Paul and Dan can add some value, a lot of value actually. They've designed a program to get you back on track in your way, right? Like they're helping you to level up, and it isn't based on all the other dads because every dad's unique, right? It's based on you, your needs, your goals, and what's in your head, right? Like they're trying to help you become a better you, and that's the real uniqueness of this program. I think a great tip is if the more vulnerabilities you expose to Dan and Paul, the greater they can help you. And I didn't really want to do that, but the more I started putting in, the more I started getting out. And they constantly remind you, I think every time I speak to them, that they've got your back. And that, just being said, is pretty awesome. Where can I learn more about the Hero program? Search for the Hero Dad Collective and you will see an array of Facebook, YouTube, and their website with all this information. How do you feel now? After 12 weeks, there's loads of improvements that I've seen with my own environment. And I think the top 3 would be this head fog that I had. Has absolutely gone. I don't get headaches anymore because I wasn't drinking a lot of water and I wasn't monitoring what I ate, and those were probably the 2 biggest adjustments that have just made this fog go away, which is awesome. 2 points. I had the intent, not the motion. The program gave me a steady cadence of developing the motion. I'd happily declare what I aspire to do but never even start. So this program helped kick me up the butt in a very subtle manner. Dan and Paul helped develop habits I didn't realize I needed to focus on. And these are positive habits related to nutrition and fitness, along with habits to help my mental state. All of these have seen me become more efficient with my day, and most importantly, for me, focusing on my physical state. The second point's accountability. It makes a big, big difference to talk through what you were doing in a day, what you were eating, how you were mentally feeling, and what physical work you were doing. Combined with actually posting what you are eating and videos of how you've felt each day and what you've accomplished is a great result. Initially, I thought, what's the point in all of this? Then after a few weeks, it became almost cathartic to tell Dan and Paul what was going on throughout the week. All the while, I actually realised that I was developing some really healthy habits, and as a result, I started to make little adjustments to get the best out of my day. Paul and Dan have designed a program to get you back on track and be the best dad you can be without forgetting about yourself. Vulnerability, like anything, will give you the most out of this program. The more you put in, the more they can help you. They constantly remind you that they've got your back, and they always said this to me, and it drove me to unpack more about why I joined the program and the vulnerabilities I had and where I needed help. Sometimes you just need to be coached out of a situation, and Dan and Paul help deliver that in spades. Go to hero.cm or search for the Hero Dad Collective, and you'll quickly see what value Dan and Paul can add to your life. So after the 12-week introductory program, I've seen loads of improvements, and I think I've got probably 3 that are the best out of all the other improvements. The first is this head fog that I mentioned earlier. Is gone, and that is because I'm eating better, I'm drinking more water, I'm exercising a lot more, and the byproduct is just a much more focused me. Secondly, I'm beginning to see noticeable changes in my body, which is great. So I've lost 8 kilos. So I've reduced from 103 kilos down to 95, which is awesome. I feel like I'm getting some guns, and yeah, just generally feeling so much better in my my physical state. And then the third would be accountability. So I was frequently grumpy. Even when I started the program, I was just grumpy all the time. And I guess to alleviate that, speaking with Dan and Paul, we agreed that I'd do like a daily video, and that daily video would be, what went well that day. And I didn't really want to do it at first. And I just kept with it, made it a daily habit every night. And what begun to happen was I was being very accountable for my day, and I was saying what actually went well, even if it was really small, like I ate something better for the day, or I had a thought, or I just did something differently. Acknowledging that and sending like a video to Dan and Paul actually became a much more positive approach, and stopped making me go down this grumpy spiral. And it just has made a compounding difference to how I approach each day now, which is really great.